In this video, I'm going to share with you how to sell coaching sessions in a way that has grace and ease and elegance, and without being pushy, cheesy, sleazy, manipulative, or salesy. If you're a coach, then I'm guessing it's because you really like helping people. And let me just say that now more than ever, people need help. This is the perfect industry to be in at the perfect time. And I know a lot of people aren't saying that right now because things are a little challenging and crazy out there. But the fact is, when things are challenging and crazy, people need mentors. They need coaching, they need guidance, and they need people who believe in them. So you're in the right business at the right time. Selling coaching can be really challenging. There are some sleazy people out there who've ruined it for others who are really good coaches. Those people have offered the moon, the stars, and the sun and not delivered, and created mistrust often in the industry. To top it off, coaching is also somewhat intangible. It's hard to quantify exactly what the results are of something like mindset coaching, for example. Furthermore, coaching outcomes don't fully depend on you. You could be the best coach in the world, but if someone isn't committed and isn't doing their part, they're not going to get the best results. Sometimes we get stuck by our own fears of not being good enough, our own doubts, our own imposter syndrome. All sorts of things can get in our own way when we are trying to enroll and market our services. Another issue is that most coaches are not business people, especially when you're not a business coach. And so being someone who might not be fully well-versed in business, you might resist all the businessy stuff that goes along with building and growing a coaching practice. Another issue is that a lot of times coaches are people who want to teach something, but haven't fully embodied what it is that they're teaching. So if you've ever heard the old adage, those who can't do, teach, it's kind of similar with coaching. Those who can't do, sometimes coach. And another thing that I come across day in and day out, because I work with a lot of coaches, is coaches who want to sell other people their services, but don't invest in their own coaching. They're not up-leveling their own game by investing in a coach. Another issue is that coaching, by and large, is a one-on-one endeavor, which means it's a business model that's designed to keep you working. In order to make more, you got to coach more. So it's not all that lifestyle friendly. And that means that pretty quickly you can burn out. Finally, if you're selling coaching by the package or by the session, then you're not generating monthly recurring revenue. And most coaches are feast or famine, and they're not generating stability in order to be able to scale. So I have a lot of different ways that you can address these problems. But there's one that really is kind of an umbrella. It's a way of shifting the dynamic in a coaching conversation and shifting the context. So instead of you approaching selling your coaching services like you're trying to convince someone else to buy you, to invest in you, to pay you for your services, instead what I want you to think about it as is someone is selling you on their commitment. That's right. Essentially, what you're doing is you're buying them in the sales conversation. I know that sounds weird, but essentially what you're doing is you're saying, here's my value. Here are the outcomes that I can deliver. Here are all the different ways that this is going to change your life. How much do you want this? If you want this, you're going to have to come up to meet me at this level of commitment. See, a lot of times what I find is that coaches drop their standards in order to get clients. What I want you to do is raise your standards and make a commitment that you'll only work with clients that are willing to meet you here. And if and only if someone shows that they're committed to meeting you here, then you make an offer. Then you invite them to enroll in your packages and programs. So when it comes to designing coaching packages, I'm a big believer in dividing your packages into two types: breakthrough packages and mastery packages. So when I say breakthrough, what I'm talking about is some sort of really compelling outcome that you can deliver in a compressed amount of time. So for example, My breakthrough package, and actually my signature and foundational program that every single client goes through, no matter what, is called the Superstar Business Breakthrough. Now, the compelling outcome that this breakthrough program provides is that people come into it and they leave, the outcome they get is that they will create a new business model and a new business plan. Now, we deliver that package in about 3 days with, some prep work on the front end and a little bit of follow-up on the back end, but essentially it's a very compressed package and it gives people an outcome that they really want and really need. All right, so for you, think about what's a breakthrough that your clients are looking for that you could deliver in a compressed amount of time. Now, the second type of package I mentioned is a mastery program. Now, a mastery program kind of naturally flows out of the breakthrough program. So in my world, what that looks like is a long-term 1-year program that flows pretty naturally from the breakthrough experience. So the breakthrough is where they get that compelling outcome, but then there's something else they want and need, and that leads into this mastery program. For example, people come up with their new business model in my breakthrough program, and then they need and want connection, crew, support, accountability, ongoing coaching for the year after as they implement the new business model. So I encourage you to think about your offers in these 2 ways. Do you have programs that offer breakthrough, and do you have programs that offer mastery? And can you have the mastery programs flow from the breakthrough programs? See, often people are much more aware that they want and need that quick outcome, that compelling solution, that breakthrough first, and that they're willing to pay more to get that in a short amount of time. So usually those are the most compelling programs to offer first to people, and they're the easiest way to get people in the door and create trust so that then they might want to enroll in something more long-term and sustainable. So another way that you're going to be able to make your programs and packages more enticing and more compelling is instead of focusing on what's in every package and what you're going to do with them, aka what I call the medicine, instead you're going to formulate all your packages, all your offerings around the outcome, the big compelling promise that you're going to deliver to that client. Which means that instead of focusing on the medicine, you're focusing on the cure. So in order to sell your coaching services, obviously one of the skills that you need to master is the art of sales. Now, I take a pretty unusual approach to sales. I used to take on sales the way a lot of people do, which is if I'm sitting in front of a prospect, my job is to close the deal. But with coaching services, it's not that easy. Coaching services, you want to make sure that you have a right fit. That's why over the last 13 years have slowly developed a process that I now call sales as service. And what sales as service means is that your very sales process, the exact way that you are going to enroll somebody into your programs, itself delivers value whether they buy or don't buy. So in my world, what that looks like is that I enroll people first into a meaningful conversation. That means you'll rarely, if ever, hear me making a direct pitch to buy one of my programs or packages. Instead, what I do is I give value, like I'm doing right now, and I invite people to have a conversation. And then that conversation, which is called a business breakthrough conversation, in that conversation, it's designed to help people gain clarity. Clarity of their vision, clarity of what's in the way of the vision, clarity in some of the solutions that they might use to address the problems that they're facing. So even if somebody's not a right fit for me, even if I never make them an offer, even if I don't try to enroll them in my program, they are going to leave the call with value. And if I deliver that kind of value, you better bet that most often when I say to someone, hey, was that valuable for you? Do you want to learn more? Do you want to see what it might look like to work together? People generally say yes. And that's really helped me to enroll more people in my programs, but without being pushy and without enrolling people who are not a right fit. So with coaching, it's so important that you enjoy the people that you're working with. And so if you enroll just any old person, you're going to regret it. Having a sales as service mentality where you really add value, you really connect with somebody, and you really identify, is this person a right fit to keep going? That's how you can sell more coaching services without being sleazy or cheesy or pushy or aggressive. And one other thing I want to add about selling and about enrollment is that it is so important that you check in and make sure that the people you're enrolling are committed to doing the work. One of the worst things you can do is enroll somebody who's kind of half committed, because then they're going to expect you to be the source of all their results instead of, rightly, recognizing that they are the source of their results. Working with a client who's not all in committed is one of the least enjoyable things that I've ever done. And so I invite you to use this question in your sales conversations, which I ask every single time. And that question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to this outcome? How committed are you to doing this work and to getting this vision realized? And if people answer anything less than a 10, I will not make them an offer. And keep in mind that before you can enroll anybody in coaching, you need to be congruent yourself. That means congruency in 2 areas. Congruency in that what you're offering to support them with is something you can fully embody. It's either something you've accomplished or something you have a lot of experience with. And congruency in that if you're asking someone to invest in coaching, then you'd better be investing in coaching. I can't imagine asking for people to invest in my programs if I'm not willing to invest in my own development and my own up-leveling. If you're interested in up-leveling your coaching practice and enrolling more amazing clients, then let's connect. You can book a strategy session with me for free, a discovery call, to discover if and how I might be able to support you. You can do that by clicking on the link below or going to superstaractivator.com/go.